Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to the dinner table. This is your host, She. The dinner table with Q and She, but Q is not here this evening. It's just me this evening along with our guests. How are you guys doing this evening? What's on your plate today? So today, we're going to talk about a few things, actually. First, let's get right into this. I want to definitely keep Q in prayer. He has some death. A situation that happened today, and he's dealing with that. And I also want to keep my family in prayer. In the last couple of weeks, I had 3 deaths in my family, and one of them occurred today. So just want to keep everybody in prayer, even anybody who's actually dealing with death or lost of a loved one. It's never easy. So just want to keep everybody uplifted, want to keep Q uplifted. Y'all know he would have been here. He's actually on his way here, and he got the news a little before the show. So just want to keep him lifted up. That's my guy. That's my business partner. That's my friend. So definitely want to, like I said, in a time like this, keep him encouraged and uplifted. Now, listen here. First of all, how was everybody's 4th of July? The fireworks. I wasn't here the 4th of July weekend, but even before I left, even when I came back, the fireworks, I think they had buy one, get 10 million free because
people go overboard.
Oh my goodness.
Fireworks.
And they get louder and louder. They sound like gunshots now. If you don't hear it repeatedly like that, you'll think it's gunfire. So yeah, it's just crazy how people, what happened to like they used to do the colorful stuff and the beautiful stuff? Now it's just loud. And I don't understand.
They still be doing those. I was getting all type of colorful stuff, but it was almost like the fireworks from downtown. Like they had some big cannons on the corner or something.
It's just crazy. And then they go in the morning all night. It was just nonstop. So yeah. So and then
I didn't understand the daytime fireworks.
Me neither. I don't understand it. I think it's the noise. I really do think it's just the excitement of the noise that people hear from the fireworks. So yeah. So we got to go through that probably another week or so with the fireworks.
Oh, not.
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. So I'm prepared for it. But this weekend, I was in Vegas last weekend for a vacation, and yes, it was. I had a great time. The weather was beautiful, but they had the fireworks on top of the Bellagio, MGM, Treasure Island. It was like 4, and it was lit up. They lit up the sky, and the streets was just filled with people watching the fireworks. So that was my first time being in Vegas on the 4th of July, and it was really nice. So, and then another thing, I know we all work a lot. I know we have a lot on our plate, but sometimes you have to take some me time and just get a vacation and get away, even if it's just for a couple of days. So don't get so tied up in work and never taking some time for yourself, because it's well needed and you need to rejuvenate and rest your body. So I was thankful to do that, and then back to work I came. So here we are. Another thing that's a topic that's hot in the news. Let's talk about Miss Tabitha Brown. Everybody's been talking about that. The read that she gave Miss Williams, Wendy Williams. So Wendy Williams mentioned on her show about Tabitha Brown retiring her husband. Her husband is now going to be a retired police officer. And she's like, it's not a good idea. Take it from me, blah, blah, blah. So Miss Tabitha, who I thought the way she gave her the read of the year to me. I typically don't get into stuff like that, but it was so classy. And it was genuine. She really meant it. And it came from a sincere place. But she let her know her and her husband is tight. And I think situations like that, you don't get into people's business when it comes to husband and wife. Whatever agreement that they made or what they want to see through and it's manifest, it's none of your business. And she definitely delivered that when she let her know about her and her husband. So I thought that was beautifully said. It couldn't have been said no better to me. And a lot of people talked about it and they shared it. So yeah, it was a good read. Like I said, she bunched her up real good, real nice, real pretty, and real classy. In a godly
Wendy
manner.
Like drama.
She loved drama. She's always been a dramatic type person. She loves it. That's her career. Getting into people. Yeah, that's her show. And I understand both parts. She didn't, bash Tabitha Brown, but she just gave some points or, her opinion. And then Tabitha Brown gave her opinion of the situation. And I think that was the end of that. After she said that's pretty much shut it down, and that was it. So
yeah, I ain't even gonna say Tabitha gave an opinion. She just gave her the truth.
She gave her the truth.
She gave her something that nobody else was giving her.
Ooh, she gave
sit down.
And she did it in the right way. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
she
it was
spoke in
classy.
love.
It was
and just like,
definitely
hey,
love.
I understand that, you know, this is something that might be out of your realm of, you know what I'm saying, expertise. You know what I'm saying? And so we good over here.
Yeah, basically.
Bless you in all your parts.
Yeah. She did. And I was just like, well, I think I watched that like 4 or 5 times because I was like, I pray to have that type of calmness, that type of response when it comes to people. And people will pull you out of pocket, but she didn't allow her to pull her out of pocket. To me, she thought about what she was going to say and how she was going to say it. And her delivery was flawless. So
I think she already knew before she took the interview.
Yeah.
I think she was already prepared for it.
Yeah,
If you watch Wendy Williams, you kind of already got an idea that she gonna try to. It's gonna be something that's gonna be said or asked or whatever to try to stir up a little drama. Her, like you said, her career.
That's what she's been doing that for years.
Has been built on drama. Has been built on negativity. You know what I'm saying? Built on just especially when it comes to anything about relationships and love.
And my thing is,
she always has something negative
always.
to say.
And that, teachers, everybody goes through something in marriage, good or bad and different. But I think she was putting her opinion of her marriage and what happened in her marriage on her. And that's, they're two totally different situations. And she let that be known as well. So, yeah, that was, like I said, I think, every year they have like the award goes to, the award goes to her for the read of the year because, baby, that was a read. And other news, now the young lady, and I always say her, I always call her the young lady that's running Richardson. What's her first name? Sha'Carri. I used to mess it up. Sha'Carri Richardson. She got a lot of flack over the weekend, but she had a lot of support too. And she's a young lady. She's 21 years old. She smokes some marijuana, and she tested positive. My thing is they made a bigger deal of it than what it should have been, but I understand the rules and regulations of the sport. However, I do congratulate Nike because they stuck by her. They made a statement. They did not pull their ad or their connection with her, and I'm glad that they didn't.
She kept her sponsorship.
She kept her sponsorship. And then her team was behind her as well. They even did a post to all the ladies speaking. And we all make mistakes. And things happen. I hope that this is a learning lesson for her. And I like the fact that she's her. She's genuine, real, and being her. So, unfortunately, she won't be able to be in the Olympics, which I was hoping that she wouldn't be disqualified. But she is.
Well, they really only disqualified her. It really was going to be the races that she had won at the trials, which was the 100 and whatever. She had an opportunity to still run for the relay team, but the caveat to that is that they would have to select her, and so they just released the news the other day that they didn't select her, which I feel like they did it on purpose.
Of course, absolutely.
After the whole little blowback thing, and then you got the girl that they chose to run in her place and to run on the relay team, and they made sure that they highlighted that she was a Mormon. And it was about her faith, so then they tried to make it like a moral thing, and I was just like, man, y'all be doing too much. So
they do.
How you gonna step on somebody that's representing us and her mother just passed?
But that's why.
Okay, so like she made this decision. She confessed she didn't.
She
like.
Did. She owned it.
It ain't like she came to y'all and was like, no. She had pushback. She was like, I accept. The suspension, and I'm gonna keep it moving. I'm saying? I'm gonna be back next year for the Nationals. She gonna do her thing.
I
just don't like how they be like. Like trying to low key like jab at her, and then when the Olympic Committee issues their statements, then they want to try to make it seem like, well, we can mask this and went into all this other stuff, and I was like, well, she didn't smoke prior to her race.
Right.
She passed her test before the race, and she raced. She found out the date of the race about her biological mom
passing away.
After the race, she smoked, and at the post race test. The weed came up. And she already knew it. It ain't
and
like
she
was trying
owned
to
it.
hide it.
She did, and for her to be such a young lady, she took accountability.
Yeah, that means her grandmother raised her right.
Yeah, And my thing is, it wasn't steroids in her system. It wasn't cocaine. It was marijuana. And I know, like I said, I know rules and regulations of sports where you can't have things in your system. But I hope and pray that when other people do stuff like that, they keep that same energy. Give it to everybody across the board. And that's not always the case.
Well, we already know that.
And so I'm praying for that young lady. I'm behind her.
Get rid of that rule.
Yeah, I'm behind her 100%. And to me, you get a setback, but you're gonna step up 10 times more. So this is just to get her prepared for what God has in store for her next, and that's how I look at that. So it's a learning lesson. But I was really rooting and hoping that she would have made it to the Olympics. So shouts out to her. She's an awesome young lady. Oh my gosh, she's super fast.
Yeah, I hope she get faster. I'm rooting for her to break FloJo's record. FloJo was like my favorite.
Yeah, I love FloJo too. Yeah,
track star back in the day. We used to watch her every Olympic trials, every nationals, everything that she did. We was watching it.
You was watching it. Yeah. So shouts out to her. And like I said, she's already awesome, and she's going to continue to be awesome, and she's going to flourish. So now we have tonight. We have back Mr. Billy Crane. And let me just tell y'all something. I just want to say this before I give him a big introduction. He's now my agent, and I had an issue. I literally texted him, and in 5 minutes, I think it was 5, maybe 10, I give it 10, if it was that. But he responded quickly. So I like that. And I know he has other clients, but to me, he made me feel like I was the only client. And I like people like that because they're tangible, and they make sure that they, looking out for their clients or their clients. Is that what you call clients?
Absolutely.
Yes. So I just want to introduce. We had him on the show last week. This show was so great. We had so many questions, so many things that needed to be answered. We brought him back for this week. And guess what? He was able and available to come out and talk to all of us. And I think that's huge. When somebody takes time out of their schedule to come and inform and educate us on things that we need to know, things that we need, that is truly a blessing. So I want to introduce to you guys, if you did not hear him last week, you get a chance to hear him this week, Mr. Billy Crane. He is an insurance agent, and he is awesome at what he does. Good evening. How are you, sir?
Hey. I appreciate the intro as always, the invite, and round two, part two.
Part two.
I think it's a couple fights coming up. That's a part 3. So, hopefully I do good enough to where I come back again.
And we're going to definitely have you back. Because I had so many people call, and I told people that, if you have questions, ask, and I did write a few of them down.
Awesome.
About insurance, because a lot of people are not educated on insurance and the benefits of it and why you need it and why you should have it and who benefits from you having insurance. So let's just do a recap of last week.
Sounds good.
How long have you been an agent?
So it's a funny story, but I'll give you mine. I've been helping families with insurance for about 3 years now.
Okay.
June 1st was actually my 3rd year that I got licensed and helped my first family out. So.
Okay, well, congratulations.
Yeah, absolutely. Before that, I done a ton of stuff in customer service, helped clubs, ran LA Fitness for a few years.
Oh, really? Okay.
So I've always helped people, and then in this endeavor, it got me back some freedom, where I can kind of control my own schedule now. Got me into the entrepreneurial world as well.
Okay.
But ultimately, it kept me still focused on people, still being able to help people and service families in a way that I got my own story about. Like my father died, he was 39 when he passed, right? He got kidney failure at 30, over a 9-year run. He ended up passing at 39. And like what's ironic right now is I'm 39. So I'm like, I feel like I'm in my prime.
Right.
And he was leaving out the door. But I know the burden that it left on our family. So I got even a personal side to it where I can have a passion behind it. So it's not just like, hey, I'm selling you something. It's like, no, I'm really trying to help your family because we all got to go.
Right.
And if it comes unexpectedly,
that's right.
Then let's just make sure that we're in an even better position.
That's right.
So,
okay.
So about 3 years now.
Okay. Well, congratulations to you on that.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Now, one question someone that wanted me to ask, and I think we kind of talked about this last week, but if someone decides, okay, I want to get a policy, and they buy it, purchase it, they pay it tomorrow for the first time. They pass away next week. Would that policy get paid out?
So let's say yes and no.
Okay.
Okay. It's all situational, right?
Okay.
So let's go negative first.
Okay.
Okay, because it'll take a little bit more explaining. So we talked about last week, there's 2 different types of insurances. You have whole life, you have term. Okay. Typically, if somebody qualifies for a term, their coverage starts immediately, period. Okay. Term, you typically got to be healthy. You really can't have major medical issues, no strokes, no heart attacks, none of that kind of stuff. So in regards to a term policy, yes, somebody gets a term, is going to start day one.
Okay.
Okay. Now, let me give a quick disclaimer here. Insurance companies in the first 2 years have the ability to look back just to make sure that everything was legit.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So your coverage is immediate, but they just have the ability if something just didn't seem right.
Okay.
After the 2 years, whatever.
Okay.
Okay, so I hope I'm not confusing folks. So again, with term, you're starting immediately, but just know there's a clause in your policy that say the insurance companies can look back.
Okay.
Okay.
Because then the part two of their question was, I thought you had to wait 2 years in order for a policy to be paid out.
Okay, so that's how term works.
Okay.
Now let's go to whole life. Whole life can be a little more complicated. And I don't want to say complicated, just got different factors. So with whole life, that's typically where somebody wants to get a policy, let's say for their mom. Mom is 72, we know she got more time behind her than she got ahead of her.
Right.
And when she passes, I want to make sure that I'm not responsible for that burial.
Okay.
Now, mom, I'm going to come talk to mom, and mom may be in one or two conditions. She could be in really, really good health, and when I get her that whole life policy, it'll start immediately.
Okay.
Okay? Or at the same time, I can go to mom, and mom could be on dialysis. I can still get her approved, but she will have to wait 2 years.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So this got nothing even to do with the insurance companies can look back. It's just because of your health, you have to wait 2 years.
Okay.
Okay? Now, what makes it even more, and this is where I tell people, I said it last week, get a policy review. People sign up for policies, and let's say they are healthy, but in the mail, they get a letter from Mutual Omaha. Okay? I don't know if I can say names, but it is what it is, right? And and they sign up for that policy.
Okay.
A lot of times, the word is called graded for all those that's listening. Graded means you have to wait 2 years.
Okay.
But if I never said the word graded to you, and I'm like, hey, you got a graded policy, you would think like, oh, shoot, I got that good stuff, man.
Right.
You got graded. So people got policies that are graded. They don't even know it, and they do have to wait 2 years. Should they have had to? No, but just because they signed up right through the mail, right over the phone, thus they got that 2 year wait.
Okay.
So it's not that you have to wait 2 years. That is not the case. It's really based on your health. Okay? Because that's all insurance companies care about is your age, your health, driving record for the most part.
That's what I was going to ask too.
Yeah, that's what they look at. So when we send them an application, all they doing is typing in your social, looking at your date of birth, it brings up your whole medical chart. It's called your MIB. Right? So when you go to doctors, just on a separate note, guys, like, be careful what your doctor prescribes you, because if you accept it and you get that prescription filled, even if you don't take it, it's on your MIB.
Wow. So only if you get it filled. So like say if a doctor writes you a prescription, but you don't get it filled.
I'm going to tell you, don't even let them write it.
Okay.
Because now you're in that grade.
Well, I got a question about that then, because they gave me a hard time because I told my doctor I wasn't taking no prescription. So to them, that was like a red flag because my blood pressure was a little higher than normal. So he, gave me a script, and I was like, nah, I don't do medication. You know what I'm saying? I can do this naturally.
For sure. Or
whatever. And so when they asked, for the paperwork from my doctor, it says on there that I refused. So they took the refusal as a
red flag.
As a red flag. So they kind of like delayed the paperwork. It took like another 2 months just for the underwriters to
even go through and approve it.
Yeah.
So and it's interesting because remember, if we go back and kind of doing a recap with term insurance, which is what I'm assuming you have.
Yeah.
You could go term where they actually take your blood and urine, which is what I'm assuming you probably did.
Well, I had already went to my doctor, so when I had to submit everything, I just sent my last.
Your lab's over.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just saying that to say ultimately, when that doctor puts stuff on your record, it can hinder things. Like I had one lady, this was a couple years ago. Okay. She wanted to get out of work. Okay. So she had her doctor write her up and say that she was going through a mental breakdown. So then the doctor prescribed her some medicines for depression, a little slight schizophrenic. even though she wasn't, but she just wanted
To get off work.
to get off work. And y'all know how that go.
Yeah.
Right? But then the issue came a few months later. I don't know when I got into her picture, but when I tried to get her life insurance, guess what?
Couldn't
She
do
couldn't
it.
get what she wanted because of the fact now on her medical report,
That was on there.
it said that she got depression with a little bit of schizophrenia.
Ooh.
When all
And
she
they
really
look at
wanted-
all of that. You
Oh,
said the
come
health.
on. That's all they care about.
That's all they care about.
That's all they care about. They're trying to see, like, ultimately, I mean, for them, it's a business too. They're looking at us like, okay, are they likely to pass, or we got time to reinvest this money that they're going to be contributing in?
Okay.
Right? I mean, if you think about it from their standpoint, if we was insurance companies,
Yeah,
we going to do the same thing.
absolutely.
Right? I'm going to look at you and say, okay, huh? Yeah, all right, we going to give him a shot. Right? So that's that's the thinking. That's the concept. So,
Now, let me ask you this. Do they look at family history? So, like, say if cancer run in your family, if high blood pressure, if diabetes run in your family, but you have yet to have it, do they look at your family history?
So, again, if you go fully underwritten, they have questions on their application that'll ask how if your mother or father's living. That's all they really ask: mother, father, and sibling.
Okay.
Okay, so if you go fully underwritten, because again, when you go usually fully underwritten, you're trying to get 500,000, $1 million,
So that's fully
2 million,
underwritten.
fully underwritten. Like you're getting big amounts of coverage. Again, they're gonna be really more. I use the word selective. They're gonna make sure that, hey, let's make sure that this person that we about to put this $1 million on ain't gonna die, in 2 months. Now again, they got the money to pay it. That's not it. But even as a smart business decision,
Right.
you're
Is
not
it
in
worth
the, right,
investing?
exactly. You're not in the business of just paying out claims. You want to. So if you think from that standpoint, but so yes, but no, because
Okay.
it's all situational, right?
Okay.
You getting that $10,000 policy to put mom in the grave? They don't care.
Okay. All
They just
right.
want to make sure she ain't got no heart attack, no stroke, no cancer in the last 2 to 5 years, and then they'll go ahead and approve it
So
like
when
right
you-
on the spot.
So when you start getting into like 300,000, 400,000, that's
bigger
when
amounts.
they look at history.
That's when they start. When you go that's when you have to go again. Usually fully underwritten, meaning they going, like I said last week, they're gonna pop the hood, check the fluids, see how that car on the inside is actually running. Right? They're actually looking for stuff. Like the insurance check is tougher than the actual doctor's check.
That's good to know.
Like that's like they say a 100-point inspection, the insurance company doing the 200-point inspection
Okay.
because they're trying to see, should we insure this person?
Okay. Now, another question I have, if I think you kind of mentioned this last week, but someone wants to know if a 50-year-old wants a $200,000 policy, $200,000 policy, and a 25-year-old want the same policy. Typically, the 50-year-old will pay more for the same policy.
Oh, not typically.
They will.
Absolutely.
And why
Yes.
is that?
Age, remember,
The
all they
age.
care about is age.
Okay.
They're looking at it, hey, this 20-year-old versus a 50-year-old, based on the mortality table, this 20-year-old got 60 more years to live. Mm-hmm. This 50-year-old ain't got 30 more years. I won't say only, but you get my point.
Right.
So you're closer to the end, so
Then you-
thus you're going to pay more. Here, I'll give you a quick example. I did this when we were getting ready. So let's say in part of insurance, if we can get our mind, if we can get taught finances, right? If we can get focused on like not just me, because in our age of social media and everything is always me, right? But if you think like legacy, like long term, I'm trying to set up my legacy. Okay, kids, and inheritance, right?
Right.
I got a 12-year-old myself, and I got a 7-year-old son.
Okay.
So we got on them a $50,000 just basic whole life, the little kids policies I think we were talking about last week. That policy cost us $25 for $50,000.
Okay.
Okay. Now it's whole life, which is a recap, means it's going to last their whole life. Okay. The price never goes up, so it'll stay that price as long as they live. Now in a perfect world, we all would agree that my kids are going to outlive me in a perfect world, right? So that policy is not really for me. That policy is actually really for my grandkids. So when my son passes, my grandkids now have $50,000 to take care of, my son or their dad.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Now think about this: $50,000. We're paying $25 in today's rate. Think about what $25 is going to purchase 30 years from now, that might just be a bag of chips the way
Right.
prices
Inflation.
go up. Right?
Yes, inflation.
but think, so I've locked in $50,000 at $25.
Okay.
Okay, now let's just give a comparison. Let's say a 50-year-old today wanted roughly $25,000 a whole life. So now, mind you, my kids are 10 when we got it, and we got $50,000 for $25. A 50-year-old right now, to get half of that $25,000, is going to pay $71.89
Because of the age.
because of the age.
And
I'm
health.
assuming they're in good health. I'm just going to assume they're in good health.
Okay.
Okay. If a 60-year-old came and got $25,000, it's going to be $104.60.
Really?
If a 70-year-old came and got $25,000, it's going to be $181.72
This is monthly.
monthly. If an 80-year-old didn't never get insurance and wanted $25,000, he or she's, well, he, because these are all male prices, are going to pay $344.52.
Wow. And that's just for half
And that's for half
of the 50.
of the 50, which I got for $25.
So they definitely look at the age.
Not, and again, we're saying somebody in what? Good health.
Right. So if you have some, well, they won't be underlined because they're going to see the health
They're gonna
issues.
see-
So
yeah,
if you
they're-
have them, the price is going to.
Not a question, right? And let me just do this for some people that might be like even a skeptic to a way. If you do $25 a month and you times it by 12 months in a year, that's $300 a year. Mm-hmm. If my kid lives another 60 years, well, let's even go 8. Let's go 70 years because that means he'll be 80.
Okay.
So if he lives another 70 years, I would have paid $21,000 into
Over
that
that.
policy.
Nowhere near
But
the
they're
50.
getting out what? $50,000. So even for those folks, I just let people know, like, no, insurance, not that it's an investment, it's more of a legacy inheritance play.
Okay.
Okay, because this ain't in the stock market where you can get 10, 20. No, it's kind of like that baseline investment. I know if I put this in, I'm going to get this out.
Okay.
Right. But part of the thinking, like we got to try to help people get it, is that let me not spend all of my money on this Hellcat. Let me not spend all of my money to ride around in this Range Rover to impress people that really don't matter.
That don't matter.
Right.
And it's a mindset.
It's a true mindset.
Yeah, it is a true mindset. And to me, some younger people get it, but it started at home, and we're not taught.
We're not.
The basics to me start at home, and one thing I was taught, just work. But then what do you do with the money that you done worked all your life for? What are you doing with it? How you invest it? So we're not taught, and we're not teaching finances to our children. And like you said, it took me Range Rovers. I had all of that.
Listen, I'm saying because I did it too. Like, I ain't judging nobody. It's just a matter of just trying to
convertibles and had it. But as I got older, guess what? We all here. I don't know what car we drove in. You know what I'm saying? Nobody knows what car you came in. But we got here. We got transportation. So as I got older, I'm like, pay off a car, drive it until the wheels fall off, because you to me, cars depreciate anyway. So you invest in that when you can put that money elsewhere.
Yeah, and I could, like, I know we're talking life insurance, but part of me like want to just go like business in a way right now, right?
Do.
You know, because like I think it's two schools of thoughts in life. Like you got, you're gonna hear some people and they're gonna say you're gonna never earn your way. You're never gonna save your way to $1 million. Right? You're never gonna save your way to $1 million. Kind of like when you were talking about that whole Wendy Williams thing. A lot of times, too, people are gonna give you perspectives or advice based on their perspective. Mm-hmm. And that don't mean their perspective is right. That's just what?
Their perspective.
Their perspective. So we're talking money still. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times, a lot of advice that we get from people is coming from what? Their perspective.
Yeah.
And it don't make it right or wrong. It's just theirs, but that may not be the right fit for me. Mm-hmm. Right? So like when I hear, I try to push folks to say, hey, listen, go out there and try to make more money. So even if you want the Range, just make more, and then you can still enjoy what you want, and then even invest it.
Yeah.
But don't just use all of it on that stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's nothing wrong with it. Like, hey, whatever you drive. But again, I don't want to go too entrepreneurial, but you get my point in that regard. But if we can just get this financial literacy down, it'll change our generation. Because until we get that, we're always going to be stuck in certain cycles.
Yeah, and that's where the disconnect is to me, because, and I see a lot of people, even now in over the last couple of years, money just flowing and here and there, and it's money everywhere, and people taking in and teach his own. I was young once, so I get it. You know, you want the fast
You
car.
still young.
Well, thank you. I'm gonna take all of that, but I was younger at once upon a time, and I get it. I understand it. But like I said, as I got older and I matured, and I say, hey, I'm still living. I would need some things in place. I need some things in place for my kids. I need some things in place for myself. And life insurance is one of them.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I had this experience. The closest person to pass away for me was my dad, and he had insurance, and thank God, because that's a burden on your family. I don't think people really realize the burden of that, or trying to, and it was easy breezy because everything was in place. All I had to do was make sure the policy was there, and we kept it moving.
Yep.
So people don't understand, but when you don't have that in place and you don't have the money, you're trying to scram and you're trying to do this to bury somebody.
You can't even grieve properly.
No, you can't even. You're right. You can't even breathe
properly.
That's true. Yeah. And I don't think a lot of people look at it that way. We think we have time, and accidents happen, things happen all the time. Today, like even with Q was telling me what happened. The person thought they were healthy, went in to go do something, and they passed away today.
Like that,
So you never know when, your time is going to come, and you want to have things in place, particularly a life insurance policy.
Not a question. I mean, in the statement goes like, we prepare more for the weekend than we do our future.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, or you know what, me and my girlfriend said it's like we prepare for a trip. We were talking about insurance. Guess what? You had me talking about insurance on vacation, but I was like, we plan for this trip, and I'm like, we plan for this. We don't plan,
So we playing that cruise out, baby.
Yes, we
Can
gonna
I get that $70 a month payment plan for the next 12 months? And can that include flight too? Right. So we'll plan it out. But again, and I know it's not a fun conversation, right? Nobody wants to talk about passing, but at the same time, you got to have it. Let's put it in place because, and I don't know where everybody's situation at, but let's say specifically if you are a breadwinner, if you have kids, think about what happens if you pass tomorrow and your check no longer comes into the house.
Yeah.
Because that's besides the loved one and the person itself gone, that's the next thing that's going to stop immediately. Mm-hmm. So how many times will you have maybe a husband pass and a wife and they got a house 5 years ago? That bank don't care. Rocket Mortgage won't stay $1,200 a month in mortgage payment. And don't get 3 months behind because then they going to Rocket Mortgage you out the house, right? They going to put you on the rocket and you gone.
Yeah.
Right. So part of the life insurance is just the planning. It's that plan B. It's the not putting all your eggs in one basket. Mm-hmm. I mean, we've all done it, but like we count on a job and the job go away, or you're thinking the person that you're gonna be with gonna be there and they're not gonna be there. Like there's usually nothing that's permanent in life.
No.
Except they say what? Death and taxes.
That's right. And I always say my mindset is as sure as we live, we shall die. So it's going to happen. So why not prepare for it? And like you said, you can't even grieve properly if you don't have things in place.
Not a question.
You're trying to work. You're concerned about how you're gonna bury somebody, and burying somebody is not cheap. Oh. It's not cheap at all. Even if you cremate them, it's still $7,000-8,000 off rip. And if you don't have that sitting around, how are you going to pay for this?
Well, I mean, let's call it what it is. We know most people, and we've all been there at different points in times in life. Most people live check to check. Mm-hmm. So if you're already living check to check, because they say, hey, if a person loses their job, the average person loses their job, right? Everything falls apart within 2 weeks.
Yeah, you don't have enough money
saved.
Yeah.
And even if let's say you're doing better than check to check, and maybe you got $25,000 in the bank, was your intention to use the $25,000 to pay for whoever's death, or to use $10,000 of that? And it's almost because I've been to some people's houses and they'll say like, "Oh, my kids got money. I'm not worried about it." And I'm thinking like, man, that is so inconsiderate.
Yeah.
Because you don't know when you pass, we don't know where people are going to be at on that slope of life. Mm-hmm. You could be on the upswing right now, but everything that goes up
must come down.
Mm-hmm. Now, I don't mean you're going to fall to the ground, but you get my point. Like what if little, what's the kid? Listen, what if Justin needs braces when grandma passed and mama got $20,000 in the bank? Mm-hmm. Right. But instead of getting Justin braces, now mama got to go
bury
big mama, or mama, whoever the case may be. So I think it's almost kind of a form of, it's just insensitive in a way. Like
it is.
It's You know, and I'll leave it at that because I ain't trying to offend nobody.
But it is. And I look at other things that we do. A policy at the most, depending on your health and your age, costs you $100 a month.
Yeah, I mean, you can get, again, it's all health and age, but I mean, I tell people, get something.
Get something.
I was at a guy's house yesterday, you know, that was in a different part of the city, called it a war zone. And I was like, look, just get $25. I mean, sorry, his was like $32 and he got $5,000.
Okay.
I said, get something. I said, we can add more later. Right? If it's already tough now, imagine how tough it's going to be if something happened to you.
That's right. Yeah.
Right? And he got a policy, $31.29, $5,000 of coverage. If he passed tomorrow, his wife can at least put him in a grave.
Yeah, at least.
She can cremate him, put him in a grave.
That's the least. And I think that is, even if you don't get a $100,000, which is to me still kind of low, but get something.
Yeah, get something.
5, 10, 15.
I promise you. My dad passed with no life insurance. I promise you. Get something.
Yeah, get something.
I don't care what it is. Get something. I ain't never heard somebody get mad like, man, you know, I got $5,000. Like, you got something.
Right, you got something.
Right, and then at the same token, if you got it, get more. Because I ain't never heard somebody get mad and be like, man, they left me $200. Like, you know, on either side of the coin,
right.
A person doesn't get mad. They just get hurt when there's nothing. Because then it's just so unexpected. So.
Now I have another question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Someone asked, and this is a funny one. If they were with someone, we don't have common law now. Is it common marriage law? But if they were with someone for 30 to 40 years, never married, and they die and a policy is in their mother's name or a father's name who is deceased, can they even get part of that policy?
Nope. Your name better be on that policy.
That's what I'm glad.
Especially
Yes,
if you
thank
ain't
you.
married.
Especially.
Right? Especially if you ain't married. You better make sure he made you that beneficiary. Check them policies. Make sure them beneficiary names are spelled right. They got a birthday. So when that time come, because the insurance companies don't care about paying the money, y'all. Like, they don't care. They have it. They know it. That's what they're in the business for. Mm-hmm. But it do got to follow protocol, right? Like you said, when your father passed, it was easy.
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming y'all was on beneficiaries. Y'all probably showed an ID or filled out the form or however they wanted you to send it in, because every company's different. And then that check come.
Yeah.
That check will be there in 3 to 7 days.
Yeah, it moved quickly. Yep. I was actually shocked.
Yep. They overnight the check, it'll be there.
Yeah.
Right? So, but yes, in that case, you need to be on that policy.
Yeah, and I told him that, but I was like, I'm gonna ask, but I knew the answer.
I
was like, we're gonna ask the expert. We're gonna ask Billy. But and I was like, I know a situation like that happened. The woman was with a man for years, and when he died, his mom had the policy, but she was still living. She's talking about a deceased because this person's parents are deceased, but he hasn't changed the beneficiary.
Yep.
So
remember, I said do policy reviews, y'all. Like, don't assume.
Yeah.
Like, mama could have been married before, had ex-husband on the policy. They ain't together no more.
But he still get the policy.
If he beneficiary.
And so if you're divorced, now y'all listening to this.
If he beneficiary,
I need y'all to pay attention. If you're divorced and you have not changed the name on your policy, your ex is going to get that money.
Yeah, we just did that. Me and my wife just did that because her ex-husband
was on it.
Still on her policy, and she was still on his. He had to change his. She just changed hers.
Because when something happened, they honor whose name is on there. It's no question. They are going to honor. Not even a question. Yeah, it's not even a question.
They ain't gonna look at you. You can call. I'm on suit. Like, okay. Like they just gonna keep it moving. Like,
yeah. So make sure. And even if you're not married, and you've been together. To me, you've been together after 2-3 years. Put something on each other, because something happens, you have nothing.
Listen, y'all count on each other's income.
Yeah.
Right? Especially if y'all living together, you count on each other's income. So if one income leaves, your whole paradigm shifts. Right? The whole dynamic change. And I can go a couple funny ways, but I can say, hey, you leave your wife $1 million and, she kicking it with her new man. But hey, all I can do is do my part. Whatever she do out there. Right? I'm gone, right?
What you do with it is on you.
But yes, to your point, please, get something. I ain't saying you got to get it from me. Just get it from somebody. Let's just get us protected, so that way when things do happen. Yeah. And if y'all watch the news, every story.
Yes.
I don't think that even the news has ever started without a murder. Or without a death.
Maybe
election is the only time, right? But other than that,
But right after that,
lead
they
story
talk
is
about
death.
somebody, yeah.
Right.
And that is true. And things happen all the time. Freak accident, car accidents,
Yep.
shooting, incident, or innocent people. Anything can happen.
Yep.
So my thing is, you never want to think that way, but it's real. It happens.
Yep.
So you definitely want to, keep that in mind and have things in place. And I strongly suggest, if you are looking for an agent,
Oh, shoot.
to check out Billy Crane. When I tell you that he came to my house, very professional, he showed, and I'm old school. So when people I was looking for policies, but he came and I was like, I need to see your ID. So he showed, I was like, I need a picture. And he was like, here, take it. And he was very open. Because people scam. People do all kind of scamming things. So you just want to make sure that they're legit. Everything is correct. But I felt comfortable. He came over. He told me everything I needed to know and got my policy going. And I want to get, I told my son, because I want my son, you need policies for the kids. We have to think about our future. And like I said, we all look good, on the outside, but things are not all put together the way they need to be.
Listen, man, I tell people, it's nothing to me, and I'm a man, so man and women got different needs. Mm-hmm. But back me up here, as a man, even as a woman, I think most women want security.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
And as a man, we just want peace. Let me come in the house after a long day of work, and let me just chill. Whatever your peace is,
right.
I just want peace.
Right.
And that's what insurance in a way is. It's a peace of mind, and just security. In a different way, and security in a different way, right? It's securing that financial piece. But I did want to do this too, and we can get back to insurance, but I want to do something slightly different. We're just talking about finances, okay?
Okay.
Because we're talking about planning, right? We're talking about being prepared. And I had one of the guys who works with me. He had a lady who wanted to get some form of insurance, but that would be good for retirement.
Okay.
Okay, because there are strategies that you can use insurance to use for retirement. Okay, and it's all situational. It's a lot of ways you can do it. But I want to give people this. I want you guys to start thinking, especially if you're younger, if you got kids that younger, I want you guys to start thinking about retirement. Okay, I'm not a financial advisor. Okay, but I just want to give you this nugget. So the lady that he was talking about, she was 54.
Okay.
Okay. And I know there's people who's watching same boat that this lady's in. So if we can catch it sooner, it'll help a lot of folks out. And he was like, yeah, she wants to get something for retirement. I said, okay, well, how much money is she looking to, potentially use? And she was like, well, her insurance was $60. So she said she had about another $100. And I stopped him and I said, you know what? I'm going to talk about this tonight. So let's just use this lady's scenario. Okay. Let's just call her 55 to keep things simple.
Okay.
If she retires in 10 years, because most people want to retire, the number is 65, right? Mm-hmm. I think we all want to get out of there sooner, but that's
right.
the number.
I'm trying to work on that now.
Right? So, and I want you to think about this then, okay?
Okay.
And you mind sharing your age? Do they know? Do this crowd know?
No, I don't mind sharing I'm 47.
Okay, 47. So let's just say you retire.
You ain't.
Yes, I am. I'll be 48 in September.
Look at her. Told you she young.
Well, thank y'all.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm 47.
Hey, I thought she was younger than me.
Really? How old are you?
Yeah, I'm about to be 40. I'll be 43 at the end of the year.
And you thought I was younger than you?
Yeah, I thought
God
you was
bless you. God bless you for
I
that.
thought she was way younger than me.
No.
Love it. See, so we learning about each other
Right.
today, right? All right, so let's say you're 47.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got a calculator here.
Okay.
And I don't mean to scare you, but I just want to keep it real. Okay, because we know they say the truth hurts, but the truth shall set you free.
Absolutely.
But that's after it hurt. Okay. So 47, let's say you want to retire at 65. So 65 minus 47, that's what? 18 years. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm going to give you a number. Give me a number. When you retire, not counting Social Security because we don't know if it's going to be there or not.
Right.
How much would you like to have a year to retire?
A year, far as?
Just retirement money, income that's coming in when you retire.
Ooh, I would like to have at least. I'm gonna be reasonable. Let's say 80,000.
Okay. Can I cut it down? I'm gonna cut it down to 50.
Okay, I was gonna say
That's
50
fine.
at first. Okay.
But I want you to shoot for 80, and I want you to shoot for 100 because this will change what we do and our thinking and all that. But let's just say 50.
Okay.
Okay. Now let's say you're gonna live to age. I don't know. We gotta say 90.
Okay.
Because we don't want money to run out.
Okay.
Okay. Because the last thing you want is to get
Right.
50,000 coming in at 77 and it stop
Yeah.
And now at 77, you got to go be the greeter at Walmart. It's not the goal,
Okay.
right? Or you got to move in with grandkids. And,
Can you say like Target? I don't like
all right,
Walmart.
Target. Let's make it boo. Target.
Yes.
Target.
Regardless, having to work anywhere at 77.
But I feel better if it's
Just
at
ain't the
Target.
move.
It just ain't the move, right?
It's not the move. You know what I'm saying? You could be serving coffee at Starbucks.
It's
Barista.
not the
But they
move.
stop.
That still ain't the move.
You know, Chipotle, like, would you like white rice or brown rice?
Yeah, like
Chicken or beef?
we good on that.
You need guac? No. So 65 to 90, because we ain't working at 77.
Okay.
That's 25 years.
Okay.
Okay. So you need 50,000 over what? 25 years. Okay. So let's just do 50,000. And again, this is part of finances that we've never been taught. So technically, you need something roughly, if you need it at 65, you need 1.25 million in cash if you were just going to take 50,000 every year from that
For 25 years.
for 25 years, or some type of vehicle that's going to kick off 50,000 a year. So like if you go to a financial planner, they're going to say, hey, well, if you got 100,000, I'm sorry, if you got $1 million in some kind of account and it kicks off 5% a year,
That's your.
that's your 50,000. So you roughly need what? $1 million
Dollars.
in some type of asset. Now, mind you, you're 47. The lady he was talking about was 55. And he said she wanted to put $100 in a month. Right?
Not gonna happen.
All right. Like if you're starting at zero, okay, and you got to save $1 million over 18 years. Right. So this is where this came from. So I was 29 maybe or 31. We went to this guy's house. I'm super skeptic, just on a separate note. And he looked at me and he was like, all right. So he gave me the same spiel, the same story. And I was like, I was 29. I said, I want to retire at 50. He said, okay, let's just do 65. Same thing. And the number came to like 2 million that I was going to need to have. And he looked at me and he said, okay, you're 29 now. He asked me how long I've been working. I said, I have been working since 13. He said, was an adult. I said, okay, we'll call it 18. He says, in 11 years then. I said, yeah. He said, how much money you got in your account right now? And I was like, negative $31. Because what I probably had at the time, like it was
Right.
check to check. And he said, okay, so in 11 years, you have proved that you can save a negative $31. What's going to change that over the next 30 years, you're going to make $2 million? And I'm challenging folks who's listening to this to think about that scenario in your own life. Whether it means, hey, if you at whatever point you at, retirement is coming, right? I know we're talking about life insurance, but I also want you guys to enjoy life. Right? So let's plan, let's start to think through, let's start to prepare. What do I need to do to make sure that my retirement's right? Okay, unless you want to be working at 65 and 66. Maybe you got to burn it at both ends right now. Like, I don't know what your situation is,
Right.
but I just want to speak to the folks and say, hey, listen, like, yes, we're talking about life insurance, but I want you guys to really think about the future. Think about what is it going to take? Like, how much do I want in retirement? If you're younger, we don't know if Social Security is going to be there. If you're a little bit older, you probably will get some form of Social Security. But the bigger point is, let's start thinking through our finances, start thinking through our money. Let's start putting our foundation pieces in, such as life insurance. So that way, not only are our kids are good, but we're good as well. So that's the example. Go back, listen to it again if you need to get those numbers for yourself. But basically think about it. Where you're at now, what age you want to retire, and then how much money you want to have when you retire.
Now, can you speak to this? 401ks or saving account where you don't touch it. Like if you're making, say you have a 401k and you pay into it, that's for retirement. Or I believe in old school kind of way. My grandmother, my dad, like they save money in the house. Now, I don't save it in the house, but I try to put it in the bank because you never know what happened. But they were old school. That's what they did. They saved their money in the house. What about when you get paid? How much should you pay yourself or save? Like, say if you get paid $1,500 every 2 weeks, or that's take home. How much should you save out of that money?
So the easy answer is save something,
Save something.
right? Because I mean, most of us don't
save.
right? We spend it all. Save something. I ain't gonna go that way, but just save something. Okay. Again, you go to a financial planner, they're actually going to look at your age and say, okay, well, based off your age and where you at, this is actually what you need to be saving. And the older you are, they're going to say the more you need to save. And they're going to say the younger you are.
They're going to hit you with that percentage. It's going to be like 30, 40, 50% of what you make. You need to be saving.
You need to be saving. If you're older.
And the reason I ask, because a lot of people don't know. Some people don't even know where to begin. So if you just start with yourself, just saving a little bit out of your check or how your income.
You can save 10 to 20%.
Yeah.
Please do. I mean, that's the typical numbers, 10 to 20%.
Okay.
Again, I'm not going to get into the investing side. You can get into all that. But you just want to create a habit of saving. Yes. Right. Part of the reason that people don't have life insurance because we've created a habit of spending and we spend it all. So because we never created a habit of saving, then we don't have nothing left to invest in life insurance, let alone retirement, kids' college. I mean, it's just so many different things that require money, you know.
Right.
And that's why I say to people, like, you can't save yourself to wealth. Right. You have to go out there and be aggressive. Right. That's why I commend you. Right. I know you got a day job. You're out there working at night. You're doing a podcast. Like you're doing things to create that legacy, that future that you want for yourself and whatnot. But save something. Something. And the reason I bring up this story is because a lot of times I go into houses and I'm going to see a lady, I don't know, whatever age, 65, and she gets Social Security. And all she get in a month, y'all, it's like $912.
And I see a lot of people that do that. And those are the people that you see at Walmart and Target and Macy's, the older people, because they have a limited income.
Yep. They Social Security is $912 in food stamps. That's what they have to make it off of the whole month. And then I come in and I'm trying to get them some type of life insurance, and it's like,
where do they have the room?
Where do they have the room to even put it in at?
Wow.
You know, and it's so real, y'all. It's so real. Like I've seen so many, and I'm not talking about this is like every so often. No. 60 to 70% of the time, this is the case. Especially in the city, right?
Yeah.
Especially like this is the case. 900, 1200, 700 plus food stamps. That's all they got. Wow. That's it.
And that's why, to me, it was so important to have you on here to talk about that because, like I said, a lot of people are not educated on insurance and just finances, period. And then I heard you speak about finances, so I said, yeah, we're going to throw that in there as well. But it's a mindset, and a lot of people, we haven't been taught. We don't know what to do with finances, and we wear our money. We don't invest our money. And nothing's wrong with to a degree, but like I said, as you think about your future, you think about your family. Okay, what do you want to leave behind for them? And you can't, clothes and shoes just ain't going to get it.
Nope. It's all in your priorities.
Yes, priorities, yes.
And again, like wherever you're at, you know, the statement is sacrifice before success. You ain't going to never get no kind of success without doing no sacrifice. And I don't care what it is. If it's in a relationship, if you're trying to play a sport, you're trying to save money, you got to sacrifice. You're trying to lose weight, which I'm in the process. Like I got to sacrifice.
Now that's my struggle.
I want a Chipotle bowl with sour cream so bad, right? But I can't get. But you got to sacrifice.
You do.
So when we talk about the life insurance, like you're gonna have to sacrifice something. You know, some people smoking 3 packs of cigarettes. Well, let's even go with 1 pack a day, right? At $8, $9. I mean, you spending $56 a week.
And that could be her life insurance.
That could be your life insurance. Cut it down by 1 pack.
Yeah.
You
no packs.
Or no, I mean, that's the best case, right?
They the worst.
That's when you go in houses too, and this is why you just gotta love people. Like you go in houses and you come in smelling like cologne, and you come out smelling like smoke. Right? Yep. I keep 2 shirts in the car just in case.
Just
right?
in case.
But you gotta make some kind of sacrifice, and that's what it will take to get this life insurance in place, and even get your finances in place, and honestly, even to have the life that we all desire.
Yes.
Right? And it's easy for me to say it on the mic, but trust me, I got my own stuff that I'm learning to fight through and sacrifice through. But that's where it all starts: mindset, sacrifice. And as we start to do more and more of that, like we'll achieve bigger and bigger things, and it just takes time. You know?
But the benefits are so rewarding. So you may not, it's a sacrifice. You may not see it in the beginning, but over time you will see it. One thing that really taught me a lot was the 401k. And I was like, this money I didn't even think about. And it's just accumulating. I was like, I could do this myself. I can have this too, and then save some money for myself. So I was like, wow, and it just made me think differently. And I'm like, that money, if I had it in my hand, I would have blew it. But here it is, I'm not touching it, and it's accumulating. And and you can do a percentage of whatever you want for that. So you have to pay yourself, and that's what I learned. I'm learned to do, and I'm learning to do even more. Give myself more out of a paycheck. Or when I do a client, I don't need to spend that money. Save it. I don't even need to touch it.
Yep.
And so it's just like I said, it's a mindset.
It's so true. I mean, again, without putting the faith piece in there, I mean, they're gonna say, besides tithe and offering, you're supposed to pay yourself first.
And I'm glad you said that as well, because guess what comes with that? Blessings when you tithe and you
do the other.
Yes.
Yeah. But I can go all day on this stuff, y'all. Have y'all tea, but. I'm excited for everybody that's listening, that's going to listen. Go back, play these back, listen to it as a family, and really just have some conversations. Like, what can we cut? What do we do? What else do we need to make more? Do we need to do more? But how do we make sure that our security is there?
That's right. Amen. So, now, before we get off the show, Billy, can you give people your contact information? Because I'm telling y'all, if y'all want a great agent, and y'all heard it for yourselves, he is very good at what he does, and he's definitely about people. And I love somebody like that. He's just not doing it for a check. He's doing it because he really does care. You can tell that. So can you give us your contact information if someone is interested in getting life insurance?
Absolutely. And I appreciate that. So Billy Crane, Bill, B, whichever one you feel more comfortable with. But my phone number is 313-575-7322. Again, 313-575-7322. Feel free to text me, call me. I'm not going to worry about Instagram and IG. Like, if you want something, use that number, because that's the best way. We got to not procrastinate, and I think that's the best way to get me.
Okay.
So that'll be the contact information. Whatever, if you got questions, you want me to do a policy review, I promise if you're in a good place, I'll tell you to stay where you're at. Right? And if you're not in a good place, I'll tell you this is what you can do, and just make a decision. Like,
and very honest. And like I said, I asked questions. You were very honest about it. He told me he wasn't scared of any questions we had, and he's not. So I really, truly appreciate that, because some people, like, but no, you're not. And like I said, that shows me exactly where you're at, and I like that.
I appreciate it.
So I want to thank you again for coming out. Not
Absolutely.
one time, but twice. He came. We did a part 2, and we did it back to back. So thank you for taking the time to come out and speak to people about life insurance and just finances in general. So you guys, we're going to wrap it up. Shouts out to my guy, Q. Keep him in prayers. And shouts out to him. He's actually, I think he got accepted for a role he went for, and he got it. So congratulations to him. He's one of the hardest working men I know. He does the podcast. He works a job. He does hardwood floors, and he does it all. So shouts out to my co-host who is not here tonight. Keep him lifted up. I love you, Q. Pray all is well. And thank you, DJ. First of all, we have a great engineer. I just love him, and I think he's so cool. So shouts out to him. Let me show y'all. Sometimes I have him on camera. There he is. He keeps everything running and flowing up in here.
Yes, sir.
Yes, he does. So thank you. Thank you, Billy.
Thank you.
Guys, it's been great. Wonderful show. And hopefully we'll have you on again.
And let me know wherever I can help. I'm more than willing.
We might have you maybe like toward the end of the year or the beginning of next year. Everybody want to get their life together at the beginning of the year. Exactly. So maybe we'll either do it toward the end of the year or the beginning of the year. But make sure y'all get your life insurance policy. It is important to have those things in place. You never know when your time may come, or your loved one. So you don't want that burden. So Absolutely. Make sure, if you are looking for an agent, check out Billy. I'm going to put the number here on my post as well. And thank you guys for tonight. Thank you. Oh, it's on the screen too. So you can go to our Facebook page, the Dinner Table with Q and She, and all that. You can watch the show in its entirety, and the number is on there as well. And you can listen to it, get educated, get some information. And it's free information, you guys, so take advantage of it. All right, you guys have a great night. It is your girl, Sheila Shops. Peace.